Hey, welcome to another episode of the Lead More podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to help the creative solopreneur rethink and refocus and rebuild your business in just 15 minutes with these three really important tactics. I think it's so important for a creative solopreneur, and I define that as somebody who sells their craft, right? They are really good at something that involves creative skills. So let's say designer, videographer, photographer, brand, copywriter, a coach, a consultant, takes creative thinking, takes their craft and exchanges it for money, right? That's what I think of. I used to be that person. I'm still that person. I've done this business a couple times. And these are three things I think creative solopreneur needs to do to make sure they don't get stuck, to make sure they don't get capped off with a ceiling where they can't go any further, where they feel like they're wearing all of the hats of the business and the weight of the business is just bearing down on their shoulders. They don't feel like they can ever take a day off, haven't had a vacation in a year. They're not responding to their leads or customers in their email. They don't know how they're ever actually going to grow the business. They're just trying to keep the train on the tracks, right? Those are the problems and the pains. I've felt that before. I've been that person. And this is now who I coach. So with that, we're going to get into it, but I wanted to tease that intro. It's a solo episode, so that's just me. And it's for solopreneurs. That might be just you, but it's going to be a great one. So let's dive right into the episode of the Solopreneur Trap and how to avoid it here on the Lead More podcast. All right, guys, so this is an episode both to help that creative solopreneur, but also a little bit of an update because you're going to get a sense kind of what I've been working on and where things are headed in my business here at Lead More. So in that intro, I talked a little bit about who this episode's for, who we're serving. I call this person the creative solopreneur. Often this person was probably started their career at like an agency or in-house or working for a company doing creative marketing, design, sales, knowledge work, right? Where they're selling their creative ideas in exchange for money. Probably for another company where somebody was selling their work for more than what they paid that person, right? Creating some margin. And this person finally decides, screw this, I can do this myself. Like I've been designing for 10 years. I'm really good at it. I'm going to go out and start my own business and be an entrepreneur. And that's super exciting, right? That is the peak of where you're most excited to start your business. And you're seeking freedom, the time freedom away from the 9 to 5, the ability to control your schedule, to decide where to work, when you work, all that. But also you're hoping there'll be some financial freedom on the other side as well, that you'll unlock something bigger than your salary, right? And this always happens. And then this person goes about 6, maybe 8 months, depending on how focused they are. And they're grinding, their heads down, they're grinding, they're getting some work, they're getting the word out, they're telling the world about themselves and their services. Typically what happens is like they'll get a big project, 10K. My August is full. I'm so booked for all of August. They put their head back down. They do the work. And then it's August 25th. They're getting ready to wrap up, send the project back over to the client. And they realize, oh crap, I don't have any work for the month of September. I haven't booked anything. I haven't sold anything. I got to get back into sales and marketing mode. But September is like 6 days away. And it's this like feast or famine cycle, right? Where there's never enough work or else there's too much work. You can't do it all. So I was that person. The only difference is that with Nine Clouds, my brother and I, and with Lemonly, Amy and I had another person to like divide the task up, cut in half, spread the things out, commiserate with. But we still hit those same ceilings because we were both doing different things we couldn't break through. So this is the person I'm committed to serving. And a little update on Lead More. This is the person my new program is designed for. It's called No More Solo, because I believe the solution to this person's problem is to not go alone, is to no longer be a solopreneur. I think that solopreneurship, if you even are familiar with that word, basically an entrepreneur who's by themselves, is not as glamorous as it looks. You see people working by the beach. They say, hey, I'm on the beach. I'm in Thailand. I'm in Mexico, building my business, working for wherever I want. I'm a nomad. And usually that person, either one, isn't actually a solopreneur. So behind that 500K, 1 million, $2 million business are other people, or it's actually not cool. They're working 7 days a week. They're responding to emails on a Sunday morning. They're designing work on a Tuesday night, just working all the time. And I don't want you to be either one of those people. Well, you can actually be the first person, but then don't be a solopreneur, right? Build a company. Don't build a busy job. And so what I have for you today are 3 exercises. If you're this person, or if you know this person, send this video to them to help you work through that, to help you kind of bust through that ceiling, to get your mind right and focus on what you need to do to go from creative solopreneur, no more solo, to build a company, which will not only give you time freedom away from the 9 to 5, but financial freedom as well, where you can build a 500K, 1 million, $2 million business. So the first exercise is to know your buyback rate. That comes from a book, my coach, Dan Martell, Buyback Your Time. And the buyback rate is simply trying to figure out what your hourly rate is in your business. So once you know that number, we know where we can create leverage. So simple answer is take how much money you made last year or the last 12 months. We'll call this your salary if you're a solopreneur. Let's say you make $200,000. That's a good little solopreneur company, but likely at that number, you're starting to hit a ceiling and you're not sure how you're going to do more next year or how to grow, or you're feeling kind of burnt out. And the thought of doubling that scares the living daylights out of you, right? How could I double that and go alone? And you're not going to go alone. Well, let's take 200,000. You're going to divide that by 2,000. So that's roughly the amount of hours worked in like a traditional sort of 52 weeks in a year, take some PTO out, typical 40-hour week. It's about 2,000 hours a year. So you're making $200,000. You're going to divide that by 2,000. That would mean your buyback rate or your hourly rate is $100 an hour. Now, by doing this exercise, usually solopreneurs quickly realize the hourly rate they think they have is not what they actually have, right? So you're thinking, no, I sell my stuff at like $150 an hour. I'm like a really experienced branding designer. We're at $150 an hour when we bill our work. And then you either do too many hours, you over deliver your clients, or of course, not all of your hours are billable. So when we really do the math, now we're down to about $100 an hour if we do divided by 2,000. Now we're calling this the buyback rate because we're going to use a different number to create some leverage. So if our hourly rate is $100, we're going to divide that by 4, which just gets us down to $25. Now, what Dan says in the buyback rate is basically if you make $100 an hour and you can get rid or delegate a task for $25 an hour, you should be doing that all day long. Mowing the lawn, taking checks to the bank, responding to your emails, scheduling your calendar invites, because instead of doing $25 an hour task, you're going to be doing your $100 task. You're going to be designing work, creating copy, doing branding, whatever the thing is you love to do, which is probably why you started your business, right? So this is the buyback rate. We're looking for a 4x multiple on your time and your money, right? So if I can pay someone for $20 an hour, I can go make 100, 4x multiple. I'll tell you what, I have a whole course about this on working with a virtual assistant, but I pay my virtual assistant $7.50 an hour. So that gives me a lot more margin because I'm charging more than $100 an hour for coaching, but it gives me a lot more multiple, a lot more wiggle room and space there to create some leverage. So this is your buyback rate. And that's the first aspect I want you to do is figure out your buyback rate. Take your salary, take your income, divide by 2,000, divide that number by 4, and figure out kind of where can we create space and margin. And how you're going to figure out what those tasks are is a simple exercise I call the energy audit. Draw a line down the center of a piece of paper. On one hand column, put a plus. On the other side of the column, put a minus. And put all the things you love to do in the plus column. So what are the things that give you energy? Plus, 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 plus. Things you love to do. Even if you're physically tired, like for me, recording a podcast, creating content, I love to do it. Write it down. Do more of that. The thing on the negative, how do we get rid of these things? That's could be, for me, it's doing QuickBooks, accounting. I love to create content. I hate to schedule and post it and upload it to Instagram and LinkedIn. Delegate that. Scheduling calendar meetings, like doing email. Making your list of minus things. This is where we're going to first focus on buying back our time. So you have that buyback rate, and now we also know the task that we want to start with. So this is my first project for your creative solopreneur is figure out how we're going to create space. Because the thought of doubling your business right now, you think there's no way. Like, how could I possibly do that? Well, we're going to first get rid of things. We're going to push stuff off. Now your second thing is like, but how can I afford that, right? I'm only making X and I want to make Y. So now we're going to do number 2, which is the three-legged stool. The three-legged stool is an exercise to help you think about sales and marketing. Because if you're a creative solopreneur, you're going to be the one driving the sales and marketing. You're going to be the face. You're going to be the one out there selling your talent. And because of that, you're going to have customers come to you. You're going to sell a lot of work and you're going to be busy. So now those 10K months become 20K months, and those 20K months become 30K months, and you're consistently busy. So you don't have any lumps in that revenue chart. It's just slow up and to the right. Three-legged stool is a simple exercise figuring out where do you get your work from. On your stool, think of a three-legged stool. You have inbound, you have outbound, and you have repeat. So this is like, where is our business coming from? Inbound is customers coming to you. They might find you by searching. They might do word of mouth because you do a great job and other people talk about you. It could be because you're creating content. You have a podcast, you have a blog, you have a newsletter. You're out there creating content, and then people come to you because they want what you have. They want to hire you to create your service, to give them your creative knowledge and skill. So this is inbound. Figure out how much of our business comes to us. Outbound, of course, is how much business do we go out and get? So for me in coaching, I'm direct messaging people who are my target customer. I'm hitting them up in the chat, in the DMs. Hey, tell me about your business. Where are your biggest roadblocks? What's your goal? Where do you want to get to? To see, one, if I can help them, truly help them. I don't want to try to help sell anybody if I can't help them. And 2, where do they want to get to? Then how can I help them get there? So that's outbound work. You could go to a conference. You might be going to a trade show. You might be sending cold emails, whatever it might be. You're reaching out to clients. You're going to try to go get work. This work is hard, but this can be very fruitful. The third leg of our stool, that's repeat, or we used to call it a Lemonly organic. How much of our customers came back to us? The beauty of, I always tell creative solopreneurs, if you can stay in the game, get past that first year, get to that second year, you're building your sort of pile, or you're building kind of on the bottom of your business, at the bottom, all the existing customers you've ever worked with that are happy, that are satisfied, that want to refer you to other people. You're building your pool of these customers to come back and work with you again. So the longer you stay in the game, more happy customers, more testimonials, more success stories, your repeat leg of the stool will grow. At Lemonly, our three-legged stool was about 70% repeat customers over here. So those are people, because each year we built a pool of more and more happy customers. They just kept coming back for more. I want more. I want more. Now I want to do this. Now I want to make a video. It's a huge chunk of revenue. Probably about 25% were inbound because they heard about Lemonly. They read our content. They probably likely Googled like infographic company, and our SEO caught them there. And then only about 5% was probably outbound. That was me going to conferences, trade shows, reaching out to friends and connections. And what I say about the three-legged stool, why this is important, is your stool doesn't have to be perfectly even, a third, a third, a third, but you have to have each leg of the stool. If you only have 2 legs, it's not going to stand. It's going to be wobbly. It's going to fall over, right? So 3 legs of the stool, keep it balanced, even if it's a little wobbly. And so you're not too reliant on one of those 3 buckets, and you're always trying to build all 3. Build a solid foundation, sturdy stool for consistent growth, sales to build your business. So that's the second one. If you're a solopreneur, do you have a 3-legged stool? Do you have 3 legs to your stool? Which leg do you need to build if you don't currently have it? And how can you build it? How can you spend your time? Because you've freed up your time, right? Back with the energy audit, you're using your buyback rate. So now use that time to consistently sell and grow. All right, number 3, this is where it gets really fun. This is the Solopreneur Scorecard. And I'm going to have a link in the show notes if you want it. I actually have a template for this scorecard that you can have access to. And I also wrote like an ebook, like a guide. It's 27 pages where I walk through the scorecard, how to use it, how to apply it to your business. So you can get both the template and that ebook, that guide, within the show notes. Click the link and I'll send it to you. So what happens for the solopreneur is when we do start growing, we're going from 10K to 20K, 20 to 30. We're scared. We're not sure like when to make those investments, when to hire a contractor, a freelancer, and eventually maybe an employee? How can we feel confident that we'll have consistent work so I don't like spend too much? Or do we even know if we're making money, right? Like we're selling work, we're bringing money in, but we're sending a lot of money out. I don't even know if we're making money. And the simple Solopreneur Scorecard has uh, five metrics, 5 buckets that we track. And it goes in a quick little circle. And the reason I think about that is in your solopreneur business, this little flywheel will turn and spin. And our goal is to start to spin it faster and hopefully make it bigger so that the numbers at the bottom get bigger. And it goes like this. The first is marketing. What activities are we tracking so that we're out there talking about our business and talking about our thought leadership and talking about our craft of what we do? So that could be creating podcasts, could be posting on LinkedIn, could be writing a newsletter every Friday, whatever it might be. What are you doing from a marketing standpoint? And if you're doing so well at marketing, you get so big at that, all of a sudden the second wheel, sales, is going to get overwhelmed with leads because you have too many people reaching out inbound. You have too many super happy repeat customers, and you maybe don't even need outbound. I think you should always do it if you go chase the ideal customers, but you've done so well at marketing that now your sales is overwhelmed. You don't have time to get to all the proposals. Your calendar is full of sales calls. You're dropping leads because you can't even like respond to all of them. That's a good problem because then we'll fix that. When we start fixing sales, we're starting to win a lot of deals. And all of a sudden, those 10K months are 20 and the 20Ks are 40. We have revenue there. Number 3 is revenue. And so that's how much money are we making, right? So marketing, sales, revenue, how much money are we making that we now have to go and fulfill? I think of delivery as sort of the metric for sort of like doing the thing you're getting paid to do. So at Lemonly, we tracked on our scorecard like billable hours, time spent working on design work. So we knew that if we had a lot of billable hours, there was going to be a lot of money at the end of we were busy. That means we were getting paid. So you close all the work. We track revenue. So it's not just important to know how much money we make, but how much money are we making to start so we can track how much we actually like keep, right? Profit at the bottom. And now delivery there. The 4th metric on the scorecard is delivery. And so what we're going to do is look at how can we most efficiently finish the work that we sold to get a happy customer, satisfied, like they get the outcome they want that we promised them and sold them, hopefully even better than what we even thought we would, and do so efficiently in a way that we're actually making money. So we're not over-delivering. We're not sort of over-serving our customers by too many calls, too much time, too many touches on the plate. I always use the restaurant analogy of a chef. So efficiently tackle delivery. We're going to track that, which then the last metric, we have our revenue, we deliver it, what's left? That's our profit. And we want to track that so that we actually know we're making money, because it's fun to make money. It's fun to build a business that's actually working, and we can take that profit and we can reinvest it. And that's how our flywheel gets bigger and spins faster. So I always think of it as like you kind of break one and get so good at marketing and that sales is overwhelmed. And we got to figure out how to more efficiently close deals faster with templates and systems and processes. We'll track that revenue because now we're going to be really busy on the delivery side. We got to figure out how to get help. And that help is contractors, agencies, freelancers, part-time employees, full-time employees, interns, co-founders, whatever it might be, to build the delivery aspect of your business and create a more efficient flywheel. So that's the Solopreneur Scorecard. And the problem is that most folks just aren't even looking at this stuff. And so what happens as you track, and I think this is really powerful and motivating. So when those metrics hit your goals, you turn those cells green, and you can do this on my scorecard template. Or if you miss them, you hit them red, and then we're going to track those to figure out how to do it better, right? And figure out how to kind of learn the cycles of our business. So when marketing is green and we're really busy, that might mean sales is going to be busy next month, which will then mean delivery in month 3 or whatever your cycles are. It's going to be really busy. We can try to staff and prepare. We can look forward and understand the cadence and the flow of our business. That's the opportunity with the simple Solopreneur Scorecard. All right, so those are 3 exercises that if you are a creative solopreneur, we are going to determine our buyback rate. How can we get some extra help? And what are we going to have them help us? It's going to be right on the negative column of your energy audit. So we're freeing up space and we're getting rid of those things we don't want to do so that we can now invest in sales and marketing with our three-legged stool of inbound, outbound, and repeat customers, build a nice solid foundation of growth. And then we're going to track all this in the Solopreneur Scorecard: marketing, sales, revenue, delivery, and profit. And we're going to really get our hands around the business so we know the levers to push and to pull. If this sounds like you, I hope this episode is super helpful. Like I said, I'm going to link the Solopreneur Scorecard so you can have that template as well as the guide that walks you through how to use that template. And finally, an update here on Lead More. I'm now helping this customer through a brand new program that launches in September called No More Solo. And the program is exactly what it sounds like. If you're a solopreneur doing your life's work, your passion of creative work, but you're just stuck, you feel like you can't grow, you feel like all the weight is on your shoulders, you never can take a week off, the path through that is to not go alone. Not only can you have some extra help, but guess what? It's way more fun to build a company with other people. Whether it be remote, virtually, or in the same room, like building together is way more fun. If it's creative work, which is what you're doing, it's going to be better work. You're going to be proud of what you can do, the other people that you can impact through your company. As I look back on my time at Lemonly, we worked with some amazing clients and we sold some incredible projects and we made some great money doing it. But the most rewarding thing was the people you got to do it with. And then to look back at the 20 plus people you employed and their families and the impact that made on their lives, that's super rewarding. And so No More Solo is to break through that path by yourself, to not go it alone and to have that consistent revenue. So to double your revenue and don't burn out doing it. So if you have any questions about that, just email me, john@johntmeyer.com. I'll tell you about No More Solo. We're going to do a webinar in August and the program is going to launch in September. I'd love to tell you more about it. But today I just wanted to give those 3 exercises, those 3 frameworks for you, any creative solopreneur, to help you grow and to not burn out. All right, everybody, that was a solo edition of the Lead More podcast about how a solopreneur can build their business, double their monthly revenue without burning out. And I'm so excited to tell you, you can tell I'm really passionate about this, and I've had a lot of successes helping this person over the last year. And now I just want to help as many people I can break through that ceiling. So thanks as always for listening to the Lead More podcast. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, all of those. And then of course on video here too, as well. If you're on YouTube, click subscribe, leave us a comment, make sure you click that link to download, get your own scorecard template. And as always here on Lead More podcast, take care and be well.